Everybody, welcome back to Purplatypus is the name, and welcome to another Metaphor ReFantazio gameplay video. Today, I want to talk to you about my favorite archetype so far, and that is the Merchant line, the Merchant. So, why is this my favorite? I just made a video on it yesterday, so if you haven't seen that one, that'll kind of go over like how to make a lot of money, and it is because the Merchant is so good at that. So let's kind of go over their stuff, and I'll quickly kind of re-go over what I talked about yesterday, and then I want to show you them in battle and kind of a fun team build that I want to show you guys as well. So first, the hero passive. This is going to be very, very important for making lots of money. Chance, it says chance, so far for me, it's been a 100% chance. However, if it's based on your luck, then that would make sense because I have a very high luck stat, currently at 49. I've already, since the beginning of the game, been putting my points into luck. Why? Because it seemed silly, and I'm happy that there seems to be like a payoff for it in some way. Although maybe not directly, but still. This does seem to not really be a chance. It seems to always work. Gold attack deals weak physical. It's not that weak, all right? It's not that weak. Weak physical, almighty damage to one enemy. So no one can resist this that I can see. It's not even on the, none of these are almighty. Almighty is like a true damage separate one that enemies can't be resistant to with a high critical rate. So this is an attack that will never be reflected to my knowledge. And unless maybe they have like reflect all physical, maybe they could do something like that. I haven't seen that, but I guess it's possible. But it also has a high crit rate, meaning it's very easy to get additional turn timers with this. So this is a great ability. It's not guaranteed, but we'll talk about that in a second. Lucky Find, increase the likelihood of receiving items after battles by 20%. I do believe this works with overworld battles in general. However, I can't guarantee it. It's a little bit hard if you put 4 merchants in your party versus no merchants in your party. It's not like it feels like I'm getting more items, but it wouldn't be like a 100% increase in items, I guess. So I don't really know, but I believe this works on overworld fights. But it definitely works on in-game, full on normal fights. Trader's Summit. This is one of my favorites. I love this one. Increase effects of consumables by 1.2 times. Increases further if archetypes of the same lineage are present. So this does seem to have diminishing returns. We're going to figure out together. I haven't done it with 4 merchants in my party. I did it with 3 merchants, and it went from basically a 20% increase to a 50% increase with 3. So instead of 2, 4, 6, instead of a 60% increase, if it was just stacking, there did seem to be a diminishing return on the 3rd. So I'm hoping I have an item that does 100 damage or heals for 100, and we could see how much does it actually do, like what percentage increase. So hopefully it's closer to like the 70% when you get all of them, and it's more like an additional 20%. But still, if you have more characters with this and every one of your items is doing almost twice as much effect, that's a lot of value out of items. In the early game, especially when the numbers on items are really good. I don't know how this will scale into the late game. With healing items, I bet it'll still be good in the late game. For damaging items, I'm less convinced, but we'll see. Fire dodge. This is nice to get. If your evasion is kind of low, though, it doesn't really matter too much, but still they have double weakness, and this will help you avoid some of it. Fire is much more common. But debt collection, steal magic from, or Magalia from an enemy. This is actually really good, and I know it says 100 MP and it's crazy expensive. It is. But here's the deal. You don't need your MP for your gold attack, right? This just takes gold, and you're farming a ton of gold. So this is like this attack is like the merchant in a nutshell. But this is really good if you just have the merchant equipped. If you're doing like random little fights, like if you're going from point A to point B in your whatever, your vehicle, I can't remember what it's called right now. Sometimes you'll get like a random encounter, or you'll find an encounter with like a person on like another one of their own robot leg dog things. And if you just have this equipped, you could dump all your mana on this, and because you're healing up full mana in between these fights, right? You only don't recover mana while you're in a dungeon. So sometimes this is just super good to have on a character, and you could just dump 2, 3, 4 casts of this back to back to back and suddenly steal thousands and thousands of mag, and then just use that to level up your character, sell it for money. It's just a good resource to have. So the merchant's biggest strengths are one. I mean, if you look at, they're tanky, they're fast, and they have a crazy amount of luck. So their biggest strength is economy. They get you a lot of money, they get you a lot of items, they get you a lot of mag. Now, their gold attack does cost money to use, which I consider a huge upside. Every time, I mean, I gained in 20 minutes of just doing light farming, I probably gained 300,000 or something, plus maybe 400,000 after I sell the items, just yesterday, or just on yesterday's video. So like, this is so easily to sustain attacking with lots of times. I mean, it's basically infinitely sustainable if you use one merchant. It will become harder if you try to use like 4 merchants and you're spending 2,000 every turn. That'll become a little bit harder to maintain, but I still think you could, honestly, especially as you get later into the game. So very powerful ability here. That's all their main strengths. Now they do have weaknesses. Their weaknesses is that they don't have any base increase to their strength or their magic, right? So they don't deal the most flat damage in that regard. They have 2 weaknesses, which is not great, and their synthesis skill selection is very, very light. They're good, but they're light. Fortune slots is actually not good. Low hit rate, but all hits deal critical, physical, almighty damage. This is, you do a fortune slots, you roll a slot machine. If you get it, it does pretty good damage, but it's like, I don't like using 2 turn icons to sometimes do nothing, you know, because it will just miss. If it hits, it does good. Otherwise, it misses. You'll be able to tell by the animation, basically. You either get the slots or you don't. All reset, though, I think is actually pretty good. It basically removes all beneficial effects from enemies. Not literally everyone in the game. I'm sure there's some like boss-specific mechanics. However, it seems like this is going to be a really, really good ability to have access to, even though not super good. So that's the main positives, the main negatives. So let's take a look as the hero. If you take a look on the overworld, you've actually got really good wide sweeping attacks. This is actually more of a physical character class because the gold attack does physical damage. But so you can see here, like, look how much money we're getting in the top left. We're going to get just over 6,000, and we probably get some items too. Because doing this a couple times, I got 60 something purified tea cakes and 60 something like accessories that I need to inspect, right, in order to get it. So you can just clear out those enemies. But here's what I wanted to show you though. What's the build? We're gonna show it against in a real fight, but here's a build that I thought was actually super interesting. So if we come here and look at my inherited skills, so I'm using all 4. If we take a look at my team here, now the damage on these characters aren't going to be as good because I just don't have enough good weapons, right? I have 1 weapon that's pretty good, that it gives all my stats up, and then I've got like weak weapons outside of that, right? I've got like basic stuff. So these characters aren't going to be doing that much damage as far as a team comp because I don't have the equipment for it. But what I thought was pretty cool is if you have all merchants, right? It's kind of like if you have all warriors, because if you do like all warriors, all slash, you could do some good stuff too, but you don't need them all to be damage dealers. But this means all of them have the Trader Summit, which is really good because it's just going to make all your items super powerful. But what I love is if you take a little dip in the brawler if you take 3 levels in the brawler, you could bring over Diligent Discipline on all your characters, which increases the crit rate by 5%. Boost it further if archetypes of the same lineage are present. So now if you have this and you have everyone being the same archetype lineage, I have everyone having Diligent Discipline. Now everyone's going to have a boosted crit rate on an attack that has a high crit rate, while also having a great chance to actually use your consumables for items. Now, let's find out if these crits are guaranteed. I doubt that they are, but let's try it. All right, so very first, this character does light damage. So let's take a look how much damage we're doing with our items. Is there anything that deals 100 damage? We can just do it with 200 damage and then half it, right? Let's do it to 1 enemy if we can. So 200 damage to this enemy. That did 400. That doubled the effect of the item. That's a 100% increase, right? Yeah. So that's actually interesting. One of them gave you 20%. 2 of them gave me, I think it was 40%. 3 of them only gave me 50%. So I only got a 50% increase from the 200. Are you weak to ice? They're not weak to ice. And so I went from 40 to 50%, but that 4th one actually brought it all the way up to double. So a 100% increase instead. So that's fucking sick. Double the effectiveness of items. 400 damage? That's a lot. Now, let's actually take a look at our gold attack here. Let's take a look. Come on. Oh, you son of a bitch. I need you to crit so you make me look good. There you go. Crit. Look at that. Guaranteed. All right. Now let's use the fortune slots. We can use it with anyone we want. I'm telling you, using this, I've been critting maybe 70% of the time. Maybe it's not equal to that. I don't know what the actual numbers underneath the scenes are, but that's roughly what I've been critting. All right. All right, fortune slots. Don't make me a fool. Yep. Yeah. How much damage do you do? This is not my strong character, by the way. 262. All right, that was one of my weak characters, but still. So like the main reason I love this class is it is the best combination so far of out of combat usefulness and in combat usefulness. It fully takes care of you economy wise. You get all the money you need, and with all the money you need, you could then buy whatever you need. It gives you all the mag you need, so that way you can level up all the characters that you want, carry over all the traits you want for different things. It gives you all the items you need. You don't need to sit and farm enemies. They're just dropping items stuff. So it takes care of your economy. And then in combat, you don't know what you're coming up against. This is a character built around critting with an attack that can't be resisted and has a great chance to crit. You bring over Diligent Discipline, suddenly you're getting twice the effect of all your items. You're getting a probably a 10% crit chance base combined with a high crit rate ability. Combined with it does have fire dodge, that's fine. Every single ability here, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. So I'm like, yes on all of them besides one. And this is only the first stage. I mean, the second one here, this is not what this video is about. You're going to need to get more money in order to actually make this work, but it does way heavier damage. And you're actually going to get like really good abilities here, right? Increases all of one ally stats by 3 ranks for 3 turns, consumes money instead of MP, and deals extreme almighty damage to all enemies with Golden Soldier. So you can see like they actually go sicko mode, which is fucking awesome. Easily my favorite archetype so far. One that I highly recommend you unlock and you just use. Don't think it's not good in combat. It's so good in combat. However, is the damage numbers it's going to be putting out the highest possible? Probably not. It's got versatility in combat because it has an almighty damage attack with a high crit rate. So this is always essentially able to exploit weaknesses by getting crits, which is, the way you get additional turn icons is by crits and exploiting weaknesses. So this is going to be critting all of the time. Now, as far as a pure damage build, well, we'll be talking about that in a little bit here, but yeah, that'll probably be in a different video. Anyway, that is all for today, guys. Thank you very much. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye!
Platypus on the rise, watch the views go.